Today is Sunday, April 1st, 2012, and this is Vos de Sueños After Dark. Today, we have the interview with Penstroke and Patty Gloom. You believed me. With my terrible crayon drawing. That they told me I couldn't use. They told me not to use it. But I wanted to. And so here it is. Because Vos is a troll. Yes, I'm sorry. I actually drew troll faces on 2 of the oil filters at work that may or may not end up on cars someday. One of them says, "You mad, bro?" and the other one says, "Problem?" So, I am offering this episode to you both because I wanted to do something today, something fun, something that you guys could enjoy, but also I like trolling people. So, I thought that this would be a good place to put the spoilers warning. Spoilers! If you read Project Horizons and you're not caught up, don't listen to this. This is in the middle of the most recent chapter, Chapter 40. If, however, you are caught up or you don't care about spoilers, this is a conversation that rang very, very close to home for me. And much like the way that I originally started recording things, I was actually at the gym and started reading. I read fan fictions while I'm on the bike and then lift after that. I started mouthing and eventually actually voicing dialogue while I was at the gym in the midst of a bunch of people, as I actually did with So Long and Thanks for All the Ponies when I first started reading that. That's why I started recording in the first place after Cupcakes, was because of this story. So, or rather because of So Long. And then after that, I started. So at the gym, I decided that I needed to record this and really loved this conversation because it hit very close to home and it's just a really excellent character story thing. So, for those of you who don't know Project Horizons, it's post-apocalyptic Fallout, and these are 2 of the characters, Blackjack and P21. Enjoy.
Interesting place for a nap, I said sharply.
Go away,
he muttered thickly. Scotch is in surgery now. She might be dying. Somebody messed with her stasis pod, I said as I looked at the dirt on his hooves. He just lay there, twitching a little.
Go away,
he repeated, putting a little more effort into it. I pulled the hat away and stared down at his contracted pupils as he looked up at me. His spasming limbs were relaxing bit by bit as he closed his eyes. You took the chems for your daughter's operation to use yourself. How could you? What did you do to her pod? Did you try to open it? I said lowly, and my eyes threw up a targeting reticle on his head. For once, I wasn't disturbed by that. I was too angry. Did you try and kill her? He just lay there.
I'm sick of hurting.
Your leg is fine, I yelled at him, feeling sick myself. It's been fine for more than a week. What the hell is wrong with you? He covered his face with his hooves.
It hurts. I don't want to hurt anymore.
What do you mean? I asked with a frown. What hurts? Maybe there was actually something wrong with him.
Everything, he muttered. Everything always hurts. And when you're hurt, if you're a good pony, you get a shot. And then it doesn't hurt anymore. Or if you struggle and fight, you get a shot and then it doesn't hurt either.
He closed his eyes again.
Go away, Blackjack. I tried to tell her, but I couldn't say a word. I leaned against it and I couldn't say a thing. I needed a shot so bad. Everything hurts.
Okay, don't think about that just now. If you were a bad pony, medical would give you a shot to help you perform. Are you saying... Do you mean that back in medical, in 99, they kept you dosed up on Med-X?
After what the Overmare did to my ass on a regular basis, what do you think?
He said with a grumble, glaring up at me before staring away to the side of the tub.
I was so glad when Daisy busted my leg. It was an excuse to have a shot whenever I wanted. When we were in flank, I stocked up. I could just not hurt. But then I ran out.
When? I asked softly.
The arena. Reapers aren't big on painkillers, I guess, and Mega Mart had run out. I was only able to get one shot from Bonesaw, and I just kept thinking about 99 and how we failed, and it hurt so damn much. Everything hurt so damn much. Just wanted it all to stop.
But then I saved you, I murmured. Why didn't you tell me you hurt so much?
Because you don't. You get shot, stabbed, blown up, and raped. And I never once hear you say, "Oh, it hurts too much. We have to stop."
He let out a little sob.
I just want everything to stop hurting. I thought the arena would be perfect. Then you stopped me. So I just stay close to you till something killed me. But I just kept on living. And now, even one shot isn't enough. Now it takes 2 or 3, and they were just lying there, and I hurt so damn bad, but I'm not dead yet.
I touched his shoulder, but he jerked away. I sighed. And Priest made you hurt less.
Yes, but he's gone.
He screwed up his eyes and hissed softly in pain.
I don't know what I thought. I thought for a while, maybe I could do some good. Get through it. Be like you.
He turned his face away.
When we went to Hippocratic, I wanted revenge, but I also wanted to stop hurting.
You were staying with me because you thought I'd get you killed, I murmured softly, feeling cold and hollow once more. I hadn't felt like this in a long time. He sniffed and nodded.
With all the shit you attract, I figured something would get us sooner or later, but you kept on throwing yourself into the meat grinder over and over. They nailed your legs to the floor and cut them off, and still, you got us, Blackjack. How do you keep going?
He asked as he looked up at me in anguish.
And then you died, and I was alive, and all I wanted was to swap places with you.
He laughed brokenly.
You know what I thought when I saw Dusty die? Damn, lucky mare.
I sighed, leaning down and stroking his mane gently.
Everything hurts, Blackjack. Everything. I was so sure that the hurting would stop in that damned laboratory. A shot, a turret, that goop. I just wanted something to kill me, so that you could go on and save every pony. Something. But somehow, you saved us all. Again. Because that's what you do.
He closed his eyes again.
Please, don't save me. Please, just leave me here. I'm so sick of hurting. So damn sick of everything.
I looked down at my friend and stroked his mane. I had no idea what to do. No idea at all, except... Hush now, quiet now, it's time to lay your sleepy head. No, I save ponies. I don't kill them. But how do I save P21? I'm sorry, P21. I don't know how I can take the pain away, I said quietly. I don't hurt. I'm not exactly sure if I'm even a pony anymore. Maybe somewhere back in 10 Pony, whatever part of me that was a pony got cut out and replaced by a talisman or a pump or something. I don't know how a pony is supposed to feel anymore. I get shot and it doesn't feel the same anymore. I remember the first time I got shot. Now nothing feels right, I murmured quietly. I eat metal and rocks now. I have little bars telling me how much energy I have left. I closed my eyes. Maybe the reason I'm not affected by enervation is because I'm really a robot, just one with more fleshy bits than your average Ultra Sentinel. He shifted and looked up at me. But right now, Gloria is doing the transplant to try to save Scotch Tape's life. And even with the organs, she might not pull through. I sighed, stroking his mane. I know what it's like to hate yourself. I know what it's like to want to end the pain. I do. I know how it feels to be violated and to just want it over. I'm sorry I couldn't help you. I'd been on the mattress before, the very place he was now. I took a deep breath. If you lie here like this, and don't go to her, and she lives, then she isn't your daughter. One way or another, she'll get past this. Maybe you won't. But I guarantee that if you stay here like this, right now, and she dies, then you'll be just as dead as if I had left you back at the arena. There are just some things you can never forgive yourself for. I closed my eyes. Either way, I'm not going to leave you here just waiting for the pain to come back. Because it will. Lying here causes the pain. He lay there with his eyes closed for the longest time. I knew that Chems and his own self-loathing were keeping him there. I could have dragged him out easily, but it didn't matter. The mattress he was stuck on would have been any place I took him. Only he could get off it. And I didn't know what we'd do if he didn't. Then he shifted a little, rolling over to put his hoofs beneath him. Slowly he rose, and I put a hoof out to steady him. I sniffed as he took one step out of the tub, then another, then stepped free. Why do I keep on following you, Blackjack? He murmured as he slumped against me. Why do you think I can be a better pony? More than just a trick pony? Because you can. I can see it. Duct tape could too, I replied with a small smile. Now, I think there's a waiting room thingy near the operating room. We can go there and, wait. He missed the obvious opportunity to point out my obviosity, just ducking his head and focusing on walking without falling down. When we reached the waiting room, he took a seat and closed his eyes. I dug out my magic primer and stretched out on the couch. Concentrating on turning the page took my mind off of Scotch, but not off P21. I didn't know anything about drug addiction. Gloria had tried to talk to me about it, but to me it was more of a chems do damage to your body, they're so bad type deal. I never thought of them changing the way a pony thought and acted. They were supposed to be pop some fixer and you were good. Had P21 really been in pain for so long? Was it real pain, like from an injury, or something in his head? This sounded a whole lot too serious for just a fixer or two. Boo slowly crept into view. I smiled and talked softly till she came over to get a mane rub. I fished out a slightly smooshed fancy buck cake, and she ate it happily. I tried to keep my mind off the question I couldn't answer by flipping through the primer. I was getting through the basic telekinesis practice spells. I practiced lifting and lowering duty and sacrifice. The revolvers were heavier than vigilance. Theoretically, I should have been able to use half a dozen pistols with my magic, but in reality it was far easier to float an object than to aim and fire. Your brain literally had to juggle from one weapon to the next to use them all if you were going to do more than simply fire blindly. Duty and sacrifice were different, though. I lifted and aimed them both with little difficulty. The intricate scrollwork on the 5-shot cylinders depicted magical flames. I practiced working with them in unison, pulling the triggers simultaneously at an imaginary target. Then I practiced my little light spell because, for the first time in my life, I could actually do magic. Boo watched the little floating mote warily, then when it came near, tried to eat it. I smiled as she made an icky face. Before, magic was something other unicorns did. Other unicorns were better than me, and I always assumed that that was that. I was a screw-up, unable to perform the most basic magic spell beyond simple telekinesis. My magic bullet spell had been the first time I'd done more, and even that was still sort of telekinesis, but now a light spell, it made me wonder what other magic I was capable of. I thought of Lacanay's shield spell. Wouldn't that be useful given the amount of fire I saw regularly? Or a healing spell. Okay, maybe that was a bit much. I wasn't even sure if a healing spell would work on me. Maybe I needed a repair spell. Or both. Hey, P21, want to throw some books at me? He blinked, frowning a little in confusion. Come on! I want to see if I can figure out how to do Lacanay's barrier thingy. I grinned and gestured right at the end of my snap. Come on, you can't make my face any worse than it already is, so give it your best shot. You know, for having 3 doses of Med-X in him, he could throw the waiting room magazines and books really hard. After 2 dozen, I had a bloody nose and a ringing headache and wasn't any closer to making a magic barrier. Maybe I could talk to Lacanay about it. Before, though, I just would have given up. Blackjack is a screw-up. Blackjack can't learn, But now I knew magic was more than just my inability. Of course I had to get pummeled with half a dozen more books before I finally got P-21 to stop throwing them. Okay, clearly the whole magic shield thing is just a little more complicated than just imagining a wall or something, I said as I rubbed my horn.
Well, if you ever need more books thrown at your head, I'm sure you won't have any lack of volunteers, he replied with a small smile.
You know, I've got to wonder, how do you make those shots with your grenade launcher? I asked as I looked at Persuasion on his hip. I mean, I know a lot of it is skill.
I don't know. I suppose it's an Earth Pony thing,
he replied with a shrug, looking at the door of the operating room.
I can't do magic or fly, but say I need to get something somewhere. I just know how and how hard I need to kick it, and it'll get where it needs to go.
Oh yeah? Prove it. Put a magazine on each of those 3 seats there, I said, pointing across the waiting room. He looked at me flatly and reached over again, bit 3 magazines, and tossed one after the next into the 3 seats. I frowned sourly. Okay, do it again. And so he did. With both, and 3 pre-war books landed in each stack. Yeah, well, I can do magic. He stood, walked slowly towards a garbage can in the corner, and pulled out a tin can. Then, he looked at me and kicked a can hard. It bounced off the wall and I ducked as it whizzed past my head. Ha! I laughed, pointing a hoof at him. Then I heard it ping behind me and a little ting above me and felt the odd sensation of the can landing squarely on my horn. I looked at him with his sad little smile, levitated it off my horn, pulled it into my mouth, and started to chew on it without taking my eyes off of him.
Touché,
he replied as he took his seat. He closed his eyes for a moment.
How do you do it, Blackjack? How do you keep on being you?
Nobody else is dumb enough to take the job, I replied with a chuckle and a shrug. I mean, really, the uniform is nice, don't get me wrong, but I think I have something explode on me or near me on a daily basis. Any pony with 2 brain cells knows that's not worth it. I grinned at him. I expect I'll figure it out in a month or 2. If I was still alive, that is.
That's what I mean.
He closed his eyes and shook his head.
You helped Sanguine. Even after everything he did, you helped him.
I opened my mouth, but he quickly added,
I'm not saying you were wrong, even if I think you were. It's just, you do things that are amazing. You laugh and joke, and you keep coming back for more.
Not always, I said, feeling myself. Wait, was I blushing?
Thank goodness,
he replied as he closed his eyes.
You know, after Priest, when you were on your bed like that, I have to admit, a part of me was relieved.
Relieved I screwed up? I asked with a frown.
Relieved you could mess up. Following you hasn't been easy at all, but it's been a heck of a show. You're so good. You are. You try so hard to be good that...
I'm not a good pony, I replied firmly, looking away. Wow, maybe my face was too cooked to blush. I want to be. I want to be. I try.
And that's what makes you good.
He laughed softly, mirthlessly. He looked at me long and low.
Sometimes, I can't believe the things you do. I mean, I really can't. You keep going when other ponies would break. You try and give every pony a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance.
Stop, I said firmly, frowning. I'm not perfect. I fucked up. I fucked up big, remember?
I do. But in spite of that, you keep on going. You keep on being good.
For some reason, his praise was starting to annoy me.
You never give up, even when any pony else would. I sometimes wonder what it would take to stop you.
I rose to my hooves and Boo raised her head in alarm. Damn it! Do you want to know why I keep going? It's because if I actually stop for 2 seconds to think about things, I want to blow my head off. I'm not a good pony. I'm a pony trying to make up for all the fucked up things I've done. What I did in and to 99. What I did to those foals. What I did to you. The fact that I'm probably going to need an oil change before I have my period. That that I have a crazy ghost pony living in my pit bug who comes and goes as he pleases. I only keep going because I'll die if I don't, not because I'm good. I sighed and looked away. I'll drag myself forward into a meat grinder because it's less painful than thinking about what I've done. I can give second chances because after my mistakes, I'd won a few hundred myself.
Maybe, but you haven't quit yet. Not on any pony.
He said quietly as he stared away. He took a slow breath.
I keep on thinking about good ponies. You, Priest, even Glory. And no matter how hard I try, I don't fit in. I'm not as good as the rest of you.
You're fine, I said as I trotted over to him and put my leg around his shoulders. It's not about being good. It's about trying to do better. If you quit trying, then you'll just get torn down bit by bit till there's nothing left. I sat and stroked Boo's ears till she lowered her head and started to snooze. He watched me, then sighed.
You make being a good pony look so easy.